Hello everyone and welcome back. In this video we are going to actually add the comment, edit, update, and delete routes. In the last video we made buttons that will send requests to these routes. Now we're actually going to make the routes. As of right now we have two comment routes. We have our new comment route which shows the form, and our create comment route which actually creates the comment inside of the database. Right now you'll notice this one is still not an async function, so first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to update that. Async comment, const comment equals await comment create, and then after that is done we're going to let's go ahead and log it. Actually, I'll just grab this stuff, cut it out, and paste it up here. Get rid of those. Try catch. There's the error that is being caught. Cut this, paste it in here. Perfect. Let's see. We want all that indented. And then for the catch, we're just going to do console.log the error, res.send, broken again, host to slash, we'll say comments. So let's make sure that is still working. Refresh the page. Oops, I'm going to have to go get a new comic. There we go. Let's add a comment. Make sure it still works. Broken again. What did I do wrong? New comment is not defined because I called it the wrong thing. Console.log that. Oops. Console.log comment. There we go. Save. Go back to our comics. Add one. Submit. There we go. Working as intended. So now we need the edit and the delete. So edit is going to be show the page, the edit form. Update is actually going to update in the database. And delete, is going to actually delete the thing. So for our edit, we're going to do router.get, and it's going to be, whenever they get this, it's going to be /comment ID /edit. Because remember, we're adding in front of this all the other stuff. Async function request response. And our try catch block. Console.log the error. Res.send broke at comment edit. Now is the part where we get it. So we got to get two things here from the database when we populate this form. We have to get the comic itself, and then we have to get the comment. So const comic equals await comic.findById, and the ID that we're searching for is request.params.id. Then we have to execute this query. And then we're going to go get the comment as well. Const comment equals await comment.findById request.params.commentId.exec. We're executing that query as well. Let's go ahead and just log both of those. Console.log comic. Then comment. So we've got both of those, and then let's render the page. Res.render comments_edit, passing in comic and comment. Now, do we have this page yet in the views? Do we have a comments_edit? We do not. So we've got to make that real quick. Fortunately, this should not take long because we're basically just going to copy the new comments new. Grab all that, copy. Let's go ahead and shut our server down. And we're going to touch views /comments_edit.ejs. 。 is, and just paste all that mess in there. Now there's a few things in here we actually don't need. For example, we don't need this because we don't want to be able to change the username. There's never a time that we'll want to change the username whenever we're editing a comment. So we can get rid of that entirely. And the same thing, we're never going to want to change the comic ID because we're not going to want to move it from one comic to another. We're not going to want to move that, so we don't need that either. So I've got that made and it is saved. Now we just need to populate it with the actual text. So the actual text inside of a text area, instead of setting a value on here like you do for most other inputs, you actually just put it inside of the text tags. So we just have to do comment.text. Put it in there. So save. So let's go back to comics, go to this one, and hit edit. Comic ID is not defined because I did comic ID instead of comic ._ID. This is the thing you run into whenever you're copying code from one to the next. You've got to keep that in mind. Save. So in here, inside here, we want comic ._ID. Let's go back. Come in here to edit. Let's see if this works. Broke it. Let's see why it's broke. Comic is not defined. Why is what? What did I do wrong? Oh, I never imported comic. Const comic equals require /models / comic. This right here is known as error-driven development. It's where you basically try something and then fix an error and fix an error and fix an error until it works. This is actually very common. So edit, see if it works. There, it works. And it actually did pull this comic text. So let's try and update this to this random gibberish. It's not going to work because you haven't created this route yet. But yeah, it didn't work. But we know that this button, this edit button, does work now. So our edit route works. So as I said, we haven't actually created the update route yet, and that's going to be what we do next. So in the update route, remember update is going to be a put request. So router.put. And the put request is going to come to /comment_ID. And it's going to be async, async, request response. We have our try catch. Console log the error. Res.send broke. And this is the comment put. So what we're going to do is we're going to first get the comment const comment equals await comment dot find by ID and update. And we're going to update based off of request.params.comment_ID because that's where this is coming from here. So comment ID is what we're going to, so the comment that we're searching for. Now, if you remember, find by ID and update takes 3 parameters. Takes the parameter that you're looking for, in other words, the ID of the thing you want to update. Then it takes a object of the key value parity you want to update, and then it takes another object of options. This last one is optional. You don't have to pass it, but we're going to. We're going to pass in the new equals true, and if you remember, that means that this will return the updated version of the comment, not the original version of the comment. And the things that we're going to update the text value and make that request.body.text. Now, just to go over this again real quick, because I want to make sure everybody understands, this is one method that we are calling. It's actually running onto 2 lines. Can I make this smaller? Can I move this over? Of course not. That'd be too easy. It'd be nice if I could collapse this. Can I do that? Yes, there we go. Haha. So this is all one line. It's one method. We're creating a new variable called the comment that is going to be whatever is returned from here. We are going to look at the comment and find a single comment and update it. Find by ID and update. The ID is request.params.commentID, which is up here. That's in the URL. After we find that, we're going to update the text field with the value of request.body.text. And that is coming in from our request. It's whenever we submit this form. Whenever we submit this form, this little text field here is called text. That's the name of it. So the body's going to have that in there. And then this last one is just an options thing that we're going to say, hey, we want the new thing when it comes back, just because I want to log it to the console. So after that is done, because it's awaiting, it's not going to run the rest of this until it's finished, console.log new, or comment. Console.log comment. And then we want to res.redirect back to /comics /request.params.id. So let's try this and see if it works. Scroll down so we can get the most recent version of our terminal. There we go. Go back to our comics. Come in here. Let's try editing this. And instead of I wrote this random gibberish submit. And of course we broke it, because why wouldn't we? Let's see what we broke. Argument passed in must be a single string of 12 bytes. So request.params.comment.id is not coming through correctly. What was passed undefined. So let's come back here. Let's see. It looks like this form might not be submitting correctly. Let's look at the form itself and see what it is submitting to. Comics/ID/comments. It does not have that last comment ID on it. So that means there's something wrong with our view. So let's look at our view. Comments/edit. And our form action goes to comics, comic ID, comments. We are not. Yep, there's it right here. /% = comment._ID. Let's save that. We shouldn't have to get a new comic ID. Let's refresh this page. Yep, that worked. Let's try this again. Submit. Cannot post to here. It's because we want to put request. So !_method equals put. So save that, come back, refresh. Third time is the charm, submit, and there we go, and it actually did update. Updated right there. And the last one, the last route we need to deal with is the delete route, and that one should probably be a little bit easier. Router.delete. And when that happens, it's going to come to comment ID, async, request response. Hopefully now you see why I told you didn't need to memorize all this mess, because we're going to be doing it so much that you'll memorize it just in passing. Try catch. Console.log the error. Res.send. Broken again. And this is the comment delete. So the first thing we want to do is const comment equals await comment.findById and delete, passing in request.params.comment.id. And again, anything params is going to come from the URL right here. So request.params.comment.id. So we're finding this comment and we're deleting it. Console.log that comment, because I just want to see it. We're not actually going to do this in production. And then res.redirect back to /comics /request.params.id. Now let's see if this works. I got that saved. I'm going to refresh our server. Let's go back to comics. Let's see if we can delete this comment off of Watchman. Delete. And it refreshes the page, and it's gone. Perfect. If we come back to it, it's still gone. Let's add one. There it is. Let's add another one. Perfect. Let's see if we can delete the first one. Boom, there it goes. Delete the second one. Boom, there it goes. All right, so our delete route is working. Let's come back to comics and come into this one and try and edit this comic. Submit. There we go. Let's try and delete it now. There we go. So I just did a few testing right there, but all of our routes, our comment routes, are now working. In this video, we did several things. We created a comments_edit view that allows us to edit comments. It's very similar to the comments new view, except that it only has one field instead of all three that the other one did, because we're never going to want to update the user and we're never going to want to update the comic. All we're going to want to update is the text of the comment. So That's the only one we included. We did, however, have to use the comic. We had to include the comic because we need that ID. Theoretically, by the way, this is a free thing. Theoretically, we could have done away with this entirely and instead just passed in like the comic ID is request.params.id. That's another way we could have done that. I just chose not to because I want to get you as much practice with querying the database as possible. And to be 100% honest, that's a better way to do it. This is not the best way because now we're querying the database twice instead of once. But I just wanted you to get more practice querying the database. You are welcome to change that out if you want to optimize your database calls. That's perfectly fine, and I encourage you to do that, but I'm not going to make you do it. So we created the edit route, which allows us to edit our comments. We created the update route, which actually updates them. And then we created the delete route, which actually deletes them. As always, if you have any questions, please let me know. I'll be happy to help. Thanks.